next speaker, Fintan Murphy. Fintan is CEO of Damson Cloud, and Damson is actually one of Google's top partners in Europe, which obviously is a tough position to get and very prestigious, but obviously it's a sign there of quality as well. But he's going to be speaking today about how to put your business in the cloud. We all hear a lot about it, and most importantly, how to make the most of it. So what I'd like to remind people as well, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, just if you can send them out through Twitter, hashtag NWED. I'm sure Kieran is collecting it there, and I'll hand you over to Fintan. And just, by the way, just no pressure on Fintan, but I mentioned to him earlier as I was reading through his Twitter bio, I noticed that one of his aspirations to be a future billionaire, so you'd like to say that you saw him here first.
Thanks for that. Oh, excellent, I'm up here. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to run through a few different things. Firstly, good morning, or good afternoon even. My name is Fintan Murphy, and my company is Damson Cloud. And I'm here today to talk about cloud computing. I'm hopefully going to do a demo at the end. As you saw, we had some technical issues earlier on, and I'm having internet technical issues as well, which is fantastic. So I'm currently running off my 3G connection on my iPhone. So I have no idea if my demo is going to work at the end, but we'll wait and see. Okay, so my agenda today is how has cloud computing changed our business? Because we're in the technology sector, and I think it's probably influenced the technology sector, the most, because we have had to, as businesses in the tech sector, we've had to radicalize and change our own business because the industry has changed. So I wanted to give you an idea of how our business has changed over the last couple of years. Then I'm going to do a brief explanation of what exactly cloud computing is. I'm going to talk about some of the basic technology problems that small businesses have when it comes to technology and computers, and hopefully some of these will hit home with you guys. And then how you can actually use the cloud. So I'm going to talk about some of the products that live in the cloud, and then hopefully maybe I'll demo some of them at the end. So our own business, as was mentioned, we are now one of Google's top partners in Europe, but that wasn't always the case. We started off as an IT support business. We supported many customers, such as small businesses, and we did that for almost 10 years, so about 9 or 10 years or so. In 2008, we noticed a sea change in the tech sector, and it was really around, the change was very much around this new thing called Web 2.0 or cloud computing. People started to talk about cloud, people started to work in the cloud, live in the cloud. Applications such as Dropbox and Gmail and Skype and LogMeIn were becoming more popular, and hopefully you'll recognize some of these brands. At the time, these products were very much in their infancy. Many people, like this poor guy, it's Fry from The Simpsons, was freaking out because people were concerned. They'd only just sort of figured out, well, this is my website and this is how I get online, and suddenly I've got to deal with this new thing called cloud computing or Web 2.0. What does that mean to my business? And most people generally, 4 or 5 years ago, just ignored it. For ourselves, we had some really, really key decisions to make. We had to decide the direction of our business and where it was going to go. And that meant for us looking at our old business, which was IT support, and deciding actually to get rid of that, which was difficult because that was our bread and butter. And that was what was making us our money and the business that we had grown for, as I said, for almost 10 years. Myself and my brother owned the company. So we rewrote our business plan. We retrained ourselves and our staff. And I can remember at the time we were actually part of the Bright program, which is run by the County Enterprise Boards. I think some of the people might be here today, I saw on Twitter. And I can remember doing a talk at the end of the Bright program, which was what we did to help us change our business and rewrite our business plan. It was all part of the Bright program, which was fantastic for us. And I have to say we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for programs like that from the County Enterprise Boards. But we did this presentation in front of our peers, other tech companies, and this was in 2008. So this was like 5 years ago, and technology was different. People didn't have things like iPads and stuff like that, and a lot of them were scared really of what we were saying, because we were saying that many of the technologies that they were investing in were basically going to be obsolete in the next 5 to 10 years. And we were talking about getting rid of our old business. And I can remember at the end of that presentation being inundated by people and by questions about why we were doing this and what was our logic behind what we were doing. So really, to sum it up, it was risky, the bet that we were making. But we knew that if it paid off, we would be ahead of everybody else. Luckily for us, it did. And cloud computing has increased exponentially over the last 4 or 5 years, and also so has our business along with it. I think a really good example of the increase in cloud computing and cloud computing technology is the company Dropbox that I mentioned. Dropbox was set up, I think, about 4 or maybe 5 years ago, possibly more, and it was by a bunch of college students in the US, about 4 guys. The company last year was valued at over $4.5 billion. So I think that gives you an idea of how this small company that basically just synchronizes files from one computer that you have to another is now suddenly worth all of this money. And obviously we've heard things like the Facebook valuations as well. So the exponential growth of cloud computing is very, very obvious. Our business merged with another company called Catalytic, which is a UK-based company, and we became Damson Cloud as part of our rebrand. We're now one of Google's top partners in Europe. We have offices in Dublin, London, and we also have an offshore development team in India because software development is now very core to our business. So what about cloud computing? What exactly is it? I think one of the big questions I get asked is what is cloud computing? And also, more importantly, what does it mean for my business? What's the actual impact cloud computing is going to have on my day-to-day business? And I just want to go through a very simple or brief explanation. On its very simplest level, I think cloud computing is accessing applications that we're used to, such as PowerPoint presentations like this one, or Word documents, or indeed email or spreadsheets. Instead of the software actually being on our desktop PCs or our computers, it's on a server somewhere else in the world, and we're accessing it generally through a web browser, such as Internet Explorer, Safari, Chrome, or Firefox, and you'll probably recognize, hopefully, some of these. And it's very, very similar to a shared office space. So in the same way as in a shared office space, you share the light and the heat and the electricity, but you're able to customize your own office in the way that you want as a business. It's a very similar idea. So if you imagine this is the giant server somewhere in the cloud that you're sharing, whether it's Google's or Microsoft's or Amazon's, and you own or can rent a very small piece of that and customize that to your own capabilities and what it is that you need. And as a result, then, you gain efficiencies and cost savings. So what are the business challenges that surround organizations when it comes to technology? I'm sure many of you have been in this stressed position when the computer wasn't working. I think only a few moments ago some of us were. And particularly small businesses. I'm going to be in a couple of minutes as well. So I think there's a couple of different things in this, but I think the messaging challenge is a big one for a lot of people. We now have to access our email on our mobile devices. I was having a conversation with someone only just before I come up to speak about accessing information on your mobile device. And excuse me, I think the volume of information that we have to deal with now as business people has again increased exponentially. As I said, access to information when we're out on the road, you're at a conference like this, many of you I see have iPads and mobile devices and laptops, and you want to be able to access your information from any device, not just being tied to one particular device to access your mail or your information. Collaboration. I don't know if the other ones hit home with you, but certainly collaboration is something that I think a lot of people require in this day and age. And many of you will be used to this challenge where you want to work on a document with somebody. I'm working with my 4 colleagues, Jesse, Sally, Casey, and Rachel. I send them a copy of the document. They make some changes to it, and they send me those documents back. And then as the team leader or the project manager, I'm trying to bring that into version 2 of the document. And then one of my colleagues, Rachel, comes back to me later on, and she's working on version 1. So suddenly I've got 4 or 5 copies of a document. I'm not really sure which is the one that I can see lots of nodding heads in the audience, which is the one that I should use as the original. And it's a challenge really for me to bring all that information together. And the big question is, how much time is wasted by actually working in this way? Next we have data loss. Hopefully this has never happened to you, but it did happen actually to a friend of mine, not quite as severely. But I think for small businesses particularly, we don't always have the necessary backup solutions in place, or we don't trust the backup solutions that we put in place. And they say that an organization that suffers a catastrophic data loss will potentially be out of business within 12 to 18 months. So a catastrophic data loss. I know of a web designer, a graphic designer that lost all of her previous work due to not having a proper backup solution in place. Now, her business was okay, but it suffered quite a lot because people would come back and say, can you make this minor adjustment? And she would have to redesign all of the previous artwork from the beginning. Finally, I think there's the widening gap between what we have as consumers and what we have as businesses. And as consumers, we have access to these tools like Facebook and Twitter and Gmail, and we don't worry about backing them up. We don't worry about accessing them from anywhere. You know, people can access their Twitter or their Facebook on their mobile devices, on their iPads, but maybe you can only access your email on one device, and particularly in corporate environments, things are locked down, and small businesses have a challenge trying to set up that same sort of mobile workforce where they can access the information from anywhere. So what are the solutions? Well, this is where cloud computing comes in, and the idea is to save you guys some money, increase your organization's efficiency or your staff's efficiency, hopefully help you to collaborate a little bit more when it comes to the cloud, and also it turns out that cloud computing is far more reliable and far more secure than traditional software applications. So what kind of apps can actually live in the cloud? This is the exciting bit. You know, what kind of stuff can you actually do in the cloud? Well, I think the key one is probably email and calendar, and that's the thing that most people move to the cloud first because it's the easiest and it's probably the most tested. So moving, you know, having an email server in your business, if you're a small business thinking of buying an email server, if you have an email server and you're thinking of replacing it, don't. Move your email to the cloud. I don't care if it's Google or Microsoft or IBM or whatever cloud solution you use for your email. You know, managing your own email in today's world is just crazy. And in the same way as, you know, in the turn of the 19th or 18th century, people used to have their own, businesses used to have their own generators to generate electricity. We moved to this idea of plugging into the grid over the last century. It's the same with cloud computing, and particularly with hosted email and hosted calendars. You know, I don't have to worry about backing up my email. Google look after it. I just pay a license fee of €40 per user per year, and that's it. If my mobile device is stolen, I can remotely wipe it, and I can just. This is actually the new iPhone 5. I was quite happy to receive this yesterday, and I put in my details of my email account, fintan@damsoncloud.com, and I put in my password, and all of my mail and all of my calendar and all of my contacts sync down onto the phone. That's the power of using the cloud. You know, before setting that up on an email server would have been far more complex. Video conferencing. Hopefully, if my 3G connection will hold up, I'll show you a video conference later on. Many of you will have used Skype, maybe GoToMeeting or WebEx, and the middle icon is Google Hangouts. I use video conferencing technology every single week. I do about 10 to 15 video conferences a week. 80% of our business now comes from the UK, particularly from London, and I do spend a bit of time there, but a lot of our initial customer calls are done over video conferences. And actually, particularly in the UK, I've found that people are more open to video technology. I think in Ireland, we like having a chat, so we're quite happy for people to come out to our office. This is a screenshot I took of a Google Hangout. You can see, I'm just going to move away from the mic, you can see all of the people down at the bottom here, which are, hopefully you guys at the back can see it as well. And this is free. You can actually sign up for if you've got a Gmail account, you can sign up for a Google Plus account, or you can actually get a Google Apps account for your business if you've less than 10 staff for free. And you can have this technology in your own business at absolutely no cost. So these type of tools exist, and Google have actually increased the capabilities of this tool now, where you can now edit documents live in a Google Hangout. So down at the bottom here, these people are all in the same video hangout. All they have is a standard laptop. That's it. A laptop with a webcam and a broadband connection. You don't need any special equipment. And all of these people are editing the same document at the same time. So these types of tools, as I said, exist and in many cases aren't being utilized by small businesses, and corporations are using them and getting the efficiencies and the benefits from them. Collaboration in the cloud, I mentioned the editing of documents. You've got applications like Box.net, Google Drive, Zoho Online, and again, these are just a handful that I've chosen, where you can edit or collaborate on documents with other people. So if you're a one-man band and you've got other people you're bringing in on a project, you can share a document with them using something like Box.net or Google Drive. Again, there are free versions for very small businesses. If you've got teams within your business, you've got 10 staff or 20 staff, again, you can use these tools to help people collaborate, work from home, or indeed work on the go. I actually edited this presentation on the car on the way down. I wasn't driving. This is Dropbox. So I kind of call these the hybrid cloud. So you get people who, you know, I want to look at cloud computing or I want to use it. Hands up here actually uses Dropbox. Okay, awesome, awesome. Anybody use Google Docs or Google Drive? A few of you, okay, but more of you use Dropbox. So that's very common in a room when you talk about cloud computing. A lot of people will actually use it like Dropbox. And Dropbox is a great start to move to the cloud. I mean, I originally started using Dropbox as well, albeit 5 years ago when they started, but I started using it then, and then I moved to Google Docs. So Google Docs, the documents are actually in the web browser. I'm editing them in the web browser, whereas Dropbox is just a folder on your desktop for those of you that don't use it. And any files that you put in there, whether they're Word or Excel or PowerPoint or photos or videos, they just synchronize to the cloud, so they're backed up. And then you can also have them synchronized down to another device, such as a laptop and a desktop, or very commonly, people will use the Dropbox app on their iPhone or their Android devices to actually access them when they're out on the road. So Dropbox is definitely one I'd recommend to take a look at if you haven't. Salesforce is one of the leaders in this. It's good, very much used by enterprise, not very small business orientated. Insightly is actually a free one, integrates with Google Apps and Gmail. And Nimble. I'm going to give you some websites to go to. I can see people feverishly writing stuff down. Zoho CRM. Zoho CRM are great. They're headquartered in Silicon Valley, but they're a team of Indian software developers. And I kind of call them, they're great copiers. They look at what's going on in the market like Salesforce, and they just make a cheap copy of it. And that's what Zoho is. So if people can't afford Salesforce, because it is really expensive, Zoho is fantastic. And it's free for, I think, up to 3 users. Insightly is currently completely free. Nimble is quite interesting because it pulls in social media stuff. So I know we've touched on some of the social media things. It pulls in people's social media information, like their Twitter and their Facebook and stuff like that. So it's quite an interesting one. Finally, accounting. We all, unfortunately, have to account for our business and send people invoices and collect the money for those invoices, and we have to you know, manage expenses and things like that. And we also have to get our accountant to do our accounts at the end of the year. So that's generally a difficult thing for a lot of small businesses to manage. When I started out, I started my own company when I was 18. I was actually still in school, and I naturally started creating the invoices in Microsoft Word, and that became problematic. I wasn't really sure if I had all of them at the end of the year and things like that. And many people will use Word or Excel or maybe very complex systems that people have told you to use, like QuickBooks or whatever. If no one has heard of FreshBooks, write it down, look it up. It's an amazing tool. It's an online invoicing tool. It's not claiming to be a full accounts package, but you can send invoices. The invoices are web-based, so you can see if your customer has viewed them. Now, this is very, very, I can see a few people going, yes, that'll be interesting. This is very valuable, particularly in Ireland. No, I didn't get that invoice. Well, actually, I can see that you viewed it on our system. Oh, right, the check's in the post, so it can be quite good. And we don't use FreshBooks anymore. We've migrated to Xero because we need some more complex accounts now. I personally preferred FreshBooks, but I was outvoted. But if you're a small business, I definitely think FreshBooks is an amazing tool. You can log in, you can get your stats of who's viewed the invoices that day. So, for example, you've sent an invoice out. You sent it to somebody 2 or 3 weeks ago. You log in the morning, and you can see that they've just viewed the invoice again. So you know they're probably thinking of paying it. So now would be a really good time to. I can see lots of smiles. Now would be a really good time to call. So it's an excellent tool, and certainly has been one of the most beneficial for our business. When we moved to FreshBooks, one of the great features about it is it sends out automatic reminders. So it will send up to 3 reminders to people to pay. So, and you can have the emails increase in severity, such as you're going to be cut off, or whatever your business is. I'm not going to train you anymore or support your IT. So it's really valuable, and it reduced our debtor days by about 50%. So for those of you that don't know what debtor days are, we used to get paid standardly about 60 days plus, and reduce it to 30 days. So we now get paid within 30 days generally on most of our accounts, and that's thanks to FreshBooks. It's like having a little administrator sending stuff out. Xero is a little bit more complex, so it's a full accounts package. I'll hopefully be able to show it to you, but it will be internet dependent. Yendo is actually an Irish company, which is quite interesting, and they're trying to compete with FreshBooks and Xero, so an interesting company. So to wrap up, one of the brilliant things about cloud-based tools is they just keep on getting better. So as I said, we use Google Apps or Gmail, and in 2008, Google released an update to remotely wipe my iPhone. Now, when I went to bed one night, I didn't have that feature, and when I woke up in the morning, I could remotely wipe my iPhone. I didn't pay any extra money for it. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to run an upgrade. I just had that feature the next day. So it's something that you come to expect as a user of cloud-based tools. And many of you will be used to Microsoft Office. You installed it on your computer a year ago, 5 years ago. It's exactly the same as the day you bought it. It hasn't changed. FreshBooks, Xero, Google Apps, all of these tools that we use, they constantly improve, they constantly get better, they add more features. The Google Hangouts didn't exist 6 months ago. It does now. I now use it every single day. It's an integral part of my life and my business. So it's definitely a different way of thinking about things, and it's about changing how you think about technology. Cloud computing helps you to collaborate. I said this before, but I think it's worth reiterating that the whole point is that it's easier to share information if it's already on the web. A video that's on my desktop, as we heard before, is much more difficult to share. I have to upload it to something and email it to somebody. If it's on YouTube, I just send somebody the link. And it's the same with documents. If I want to share a document with one of my colleagues, I just send them a link. That's it. It's the same as you might share a website. So it makes collaboration with people in your business and outside your business much, much easier. Finally, obviously, again, I said this before, but it's worth reiterating. The whole point is you can access it from any device. If I change a contact on my phone, it synchronizes back to my Google Contacts and down to my Outlook. If I change my calendar appointment, again, it synchronizes. One of my colleagues could change a calendar appointment and it will sync to my phone within 5 minutes. So it's that ubiquitous access to information that helps us to be more efficient. Global adoption, this is my last slide. I just wanted to show people some of the really, really big companies that have moved to the cloud. These are Google's customers that use Google Apps. But it's just an example of organizations that use cloud computing within their business. You can see this Vodafone, Motorola have 20,000 users on Google Apps. Jaguar Land Rover have 38,000 users that use Google Apps, again, all web-based tools. Guardian Newspaper, Genentech, Daily Telegraph, and National Geographic, Ladbrokes, so just for those of you at the back that can't see that. So I think it's really something that's been adopted by many corporates and companies around the world. I think we're kind of lagging behind a little bit in Ireland, and particularly small businesses. I think it's probably more a small business thing that we're afraid of these types of things, and we'd mentioned it earlier on, or someone else had indicated earlier on that just keep trying, just keep giving it a go. I think it doesn't matter if the technology doesn't work. The first time you need to just keep trying it. So I'm going to stop talking now and actually show you. How much time do I have left? Not sure. Check my own camera. Okay, I've got about 10 minutes or so. Okay, so hopefully some of this will work. The first thing I always mention is that presentation was in actual fact a Google presentation. So it wasn't. It wasn't on my laptop. It's on the web, and I can obviously access it from any device. I could have accessed it on my tablet or my mobile device. So if I jump into my email, this is Gmail. For those, actually, hands up who's got a Gmail account. Okay, good few of you. Great, awesome. This is going to be easy. Okay, so this is Gmail. Many of you will be used to this because obviously a few people there said that they have it. This is Gmail. This is Google Apps. So it's Gmail for my business. So up on top here, you can see this is my company domain name. So I have the power of Gmail that I'm used to in Gmail, but it's on my company domain. So Google is looking after my company email. There's a couple of cool things in here. Because it's web-based, I can add things. So this is an email I got from this gentleman, Dale Perry. Now, he's actually a customer of ours, but let's pretend for a moment that I didn't know him. And again, bringing in the whole social media aspect. Dale's information, his social media information has been brought in here using a tool called Rapportive. Those of you that have Gmail, you can add Rapportive for free. You can see it up here, Rapportiv. It's an amazing tool. I get an email as a salesperson from someone I have never met before, and suddenly I've got their social media information here. I know their LinkedIn. I know he's a director of projects at Smart Solutions. If I wanted, I could actually click on his LinkedIn and it would load up his LinkedIn profile. We'll let that load in the background there. You can actually see here that I'm already connected with Dale. Now, if I go down to my colleague Raheem, you'll see Raheem has far more social media information. So I've got his Facebook because I'm connected with him on Facebook, and his Twitter and all kind of stuff. And again, I can connect with him or follow him on all of these particular items. Now I'm hopefully going to show you my CRM system that I use. It's called streak.com, and it integrates with Gmail. It also works with personal Gmail accounts, so you can add this on and test it out. At the moment, it's free. It allows me to see my sales cycle here, very much like a spreadsheet. Now, it's kind of cramped down because of the screen, so hopefully it will still give you an idea. What's really handy about this is the ease at which I can add something to my CRM. So if I go back into Dale's email, you'll notice that Dale isn't in my CRM yet. I've got his social media information up here, so I'm going to add him to Streak. And Streak uses something called boxes. So I'm going to call it Smart Solutions. It's suggesting, actually, boxes that already exist. So a box is basically a lead or an opportunity for those of you in the sales area. So it's suggesting that I add him to this opportunity that's already here because it's about the internet solution. That's what he's emailing me about. So I'm going to click on that. And suddenly, all of this CRM information from my customer relationship management system has popped up in the side. So now when Dale emails me, I'll see all this information. I'll see the notes. I'll see who it's assigned to. I can see he's got 100 people in his business. I can see that Mark Williams is one of his colleagues, and he's actually looking after this project. I can see the source is he's a current customer. He currently uses Google Apps. So these things here are items that I've decided. These could say whatever you wanted. You know, it depends on your business. You know, in the CRM system, you customize it to your own, your own business. So, but the point is that I'm seeing this information within my email. So I'm not going to another system. Google is bringing the information to me, and it's called a contextual gadget. I'm just going to briefly show you calendars. So again, Google Calendars, you've got a standard calendar application. What's interesting about Google Calendars is, I'm just going to go into one of these calendar applications here. I've added other people to this calendar application, and I can also attach documents. So I've attached 2 documents here, a demo presentation and a customer proposal. But also, remember the Hangouts that I mentioned? I can actually join a Hangout from the calendar appointment. So someone who made this calendar appointment actually put a Hangout in it, and I can click this, and it's going to open up the video conferencing software. What I'm going to do is just grab the link, and I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to send it to my colleague Raheem.
Could I just
interject out of time?
there
Yeah,
just
sure.
for a moment
I'm
while
completely out of time, am I?
Just to invite people, there's a spare table up here, and there's plenty of seats. So if you'd like to come forward.
Come on down. Come on down. Don't be shy. That's okay. Okay, so, hi Raheem.
Hi Fintan.
Okay, so I didn't plug in the sound, but what I am going to do is, I'm just going to twist Raheem around so he can see everybody. So, come on guys, give him a wave. I told you, whenever we do these video conferences in the UK, people never wave. Irish people are much friendlier. Okay, so you can see I'm doing a video conference with Raheem. You know, the quality in the projector is a little bit poor, but it's quite good quality here. So I'm going to add a document to the Hangout. So if I go back to the calendar appointment, if you recall, I actually added those documents here, see down at the bottom, and I've pre-opened them for fear that the internet wouldn't work. Raheem, will you just open the demo doc? So we can open it in the Hangout if we wanted. So thanks. So there's again, like the screenshot that you saw, I can go in here and Raheem's actually already added it, and I can edit it within here and have my video down the bottom. And again, just to bear in mind, I'm doing this over a 3G connection on my iPhone. I'm not connected to the, you can see up here, I'm connected to Fin, not to the Heritage, so that's my iPhone down here. So I'm actually really impressed. I'm just going to jump to the demo doc so you can see. So down here I've got, it says Raheem has joined the document, and we can actually see down at the bottom that Raheem has been assigned a color. He's highlighted that. So see the highlights that Raheem's making there and the edits that he's making? He's going to start typing in a second. And we're going to see the edits that he's making live. So again, this document is not on my laptop. It's on Google servers. Raheem is logged into it. I'm logged into it. And we're all, sorry, and he's over in London, by the way. He's my London colleague. Raheem, do you want to do the comment feature as well? There's a cool feature called comment, so I can right-click and I can comment on a section of a document and say, I think we should review this. I'm misspelling, anyway. And then you can see Raheem's done a comment there, so smiley faces. So you can see, I can respond to him. If he wasn't on the document, he'd get an email saying he was on the document. There's also version control, so I can download this document as a Word document, a PDF, a rich text document, so I can bring it back into Word if I want. I can look at the revision history, and if I wanted, I can actually go back to any copy of this document over the last year. I can actually go back to the version of it in 2011, and I could restore that version. So when you start to collaborate with people, you need to have version control, and Google have that covered. So I could restore a particular version of the document, that I preferred because I didn't like the edits Raheem made. What I'm also going to do, if it's okay, is okay, I'm just going to briefly show you. I'm going to jump off that. I'll leave Raheem. Raheem's still in the background. Somewhere he's there. He can only see me though. Okay, so there's also spreadsheets. I won't run into that. Dropbox. What should I want to show you? Oh, so FreshBooks. Okay, so we don't use FreshBooks anymore, but I just wanted to give you an idea. I don't have much content in here because it's about a year or two out of date. But for example, this is my FreshBooks. I can see what I've invoiced in the last couple of months. I can see my outstanding invoices. I can see my expenses. We also have a support ticket system. It has a support ticket system. You don't have to use it. If I go into my invoices again, I'm only going to have one or two in here, which are probably just invoicing our own company. But if you notice, I can see if someone's viewed it. So this invoice here to Damson Cloud, I can see someone's viewed it. And if I go into the invoice, it will give me more detailed information. I can actually see who in the accounts department, which is a name that was set up, has viewed this. So if it was set up under the person's name, you'd see that they'd viewed it, and I can see when they viewed it. So I can say, I can see you saw the invoice at this particular time. I think that's probably out of time. I'm out of time. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap up there. Okay, thanks very much, Raheem. See ya.